Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Health is Wealth. Pharmacists are experts in medicines and their use. Today we will be expanding on the role of the pharmacist and how they can help you with your health. So, do they just count pills? Today in the studio we have Simon Harris, who is a community pharmacist at Greenlight Pharmacy in London. Welcome to the show, Simon.
Thank you, Nadia.
So Simon, what is the role of the pharmacist, and are pharmacists only counting tablets?
Well, the pharmacy profession has been around for over 200 years now. And originally, yes, pharmacists were counting tablets. They were making up creams, tablets, powders, cough mixtures and tonics. But the role has dramatically changed since then. Now, the pharmacists are the expert in medicines. After 4 years at university and another year training on the job, pharmacists are well placed to help people to make the most of their medicines. And also manage long-term conditions and a range of other services.
So there's different types of pharmacists. You've got pharmacists in the community, you've got pharmacists in hospital, or academia. Well, let's talk about the community pharmacists, because that's where the majority of our viewers would have access to the community pharmacist. So what is the role of the community pharmacist? A
community pharmacist or high street chemist is what most people would be familiar with when they take their prescriptions. So when they take their prescriptions in, the community pharmacist would receive that. And actually what they're doing behind the scenes there is a very important job. What they're doing is they're checking that prescription to make sure it's safe for the patient to take, making sure the dose is safe, getting ready to give the patient advice on the side effects and any interactions that might happen. The community pharmacist is the most accessible healthcare professional. 90% of the population live within about a 20-minute walk of a community pharmacy. No appointments needed, and it's very, very straightforward to walk into a pharmacy on any high street and get advice from the medicines expert.
Okay, that's great. So, pharmacists now are engaging in lots of new services. How can the community access these services, and what services are available to them?
Yeah, that's absolutely right. There are quite a wide range of services, and they do vary across the country. So most people are familiar with the main service, which is having your prescription filled. Pharmacies are also a place where you can go in when you're not feeling well. You have a minor ailment, we call it, where you can go into a pharmacy and you can speak to a pharmacist within a few minutes, and they can give you some advice on how to manage that ailment, whether it's a medicine you need, whether it's just some simple measures that you can do at home yourself. But in addition to that, in addition to the main role or the main function of pharmacies, pharmacists are also now providing things like health checks.
Oh, that's fantastic. So, especially now because it's Ramadan, can patients actually come whilst they're fasting and come and get health checks with you?
Absolutely, absolutely. If they feel able to, they're welcome to come into a pharmacy where they can have a health check. And what usually that involves will be a diabetes test, a cholesterol test. The blood pressure will be checked. We'll measure their height and their weight. We'll have a discussion around healthy lifestyle, and we'll give them some advice based on that. Not everyone's eligible to have a free health check.
Right. So who can actually have this service for free?
So from people from the South Asian community, it's from between the ages of 30 and 74 years old. And they have to not already have any of these existing conditions like high blood pressure or diabetes. Those patients are managed well by their GP. And so patients who don't have that, what we're trying to do really is identify people in the community who may have the early signs of diabetes or high blood pressure, and we can identify them before that progresses.
So what if, we have patients who are currently suffering with diabetes or with hypertension or blood pressure? Can they come to the pharmacy and access any kind of services?
Absolutely. For those patients, they'll generally be on at least one, two, or probably quite a few different medicines. And one of the most useful services probably for that group of patients would be the medication review.
Right.
And this is a service that any patient can access that takes these medicines. And it's particularly useful for patients with diabetes or with asthma, where they're using inhalers, often several inhalers. And that's a sit-down conversation with a pharmacist in the consultation room in the pharmacy, where they can spend 15, 20 minutes just talking about the medicines, and the pharmacist will help that patient to make the most of the medicines in terms of whether it's best to take it in the morning, take it at night, take it with food, take it without food. The pharmacist is the expert that's able to give them the advice on that.
And what if patients are prescribed new medication and they need further advice? Can they come and see the pharmacist for that?
Exactly. That's exactly what the pharmacists are there for. So patients who are prescribed new medicines, the GP does an excellent job. They're very limited with their time that they've got. So when they're diagnosing a condition, they're prescribing a new medicine, they have a couple of minutes left to give patients advice on how to use that medicine. And what we'd love is for patients then to come over to the pharmacy, where we can then spend much longer with them particularly if it is a new medicine, and give them a full explanation on how to use that medicine, how to make the most of it, the side effects, the best time of day to take it. And what we also do is we have a service called the New Medicine Service for certain medicines. And after that initial contact, what we'll do is we'll actually invite the patient back a week later to talk about the medicine, just to make sure that they're making the most of it and they don't have any questions or concerns. And then again, for further support, 2 or 3 weeks later, we'll ask the patient to come back into the pharmacy, just again as a final check, to make sure that they're getting on okay.
And what other services do pharmacies provide? I know it's in your pharmacy in particular, you've got a walking group. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
Yes, sure. So actually our walking group started about 10 to 15 years ago. And every Thursday morning, at 10:30, we have a group of up to 20 women from all over London that come to our Greenlight Pharmacy in Euston, and they go off on a walk together. It's 1 hour. They walk around the local Regent's Park, and they also have an opportunity to socialise, have some exercise. In addition to that, we also have a men's walk that leaves at 11 a.m. And follows the same path.
So I believe you have quite a lot of patients from the South Asian community that are involved in the walking as well.
Yes, absolutely. And also what we do for them, we put on a monthly health talk. So in our pharmacy in Euston, we have a teaching centre and beneath the pharmacy where we invite members of the community along, and we put on talks on a range of conditions such as diabetes, asthma, high blood pressure, healthy diet and exercise, where members of the community are invited to attend for free. And we include lunch for them as well. That's
fantastic, yeah, because around Euston and also one of your branches in East London as well, you've got quite a large Bengali community, haven't you?
We do. There's a very large Bengali community in both our East London branches and also around Euston. And particularly for our Muslim communities, we have specific services. So,
right. Well, what kind of services do you have then for the Muslim community?
Yeah, so we're aware obviously of a lot of Muslim our community travelling to Saudi for Hajj and Umrah. And so we do the meningitis travel vaccination.
Oh, fantastic.
So we can provide that in our pharmacy, almost on a walk-in basis, so no appointment needed. Patients can come in and we can give them not only the travel vaccination to prevent them from contracting meningitis, but also a lot of other information about keeping safe when travelling to such a hot country and such an intensive activity.
Absolutely,
so
yeah.
There's lots of advice around healthy eating and how to stay looking after yourself, particularly the elderly community that are travelling to Saudi.
Yeah, oh, that's fantastic. That's really good. So are there any other sort of services when it comes to vaccinations that you provide? Absolutely.
So all our pharmacies provide travel vaccinations. So not only just for going to Saudi, but anywhere in the world we can provide vaccinations such as yellow fever and hepatitis and tetanus.
And is this a free service?
This is not a free service.
Right.
This is a private service that our pharmacies provide. Okay. So they could get the rabies vaccines, Japanese encephalitis, all sorts of vaccines.
So if you're travelling, say back to your home country, you can provide vaccinations.
Absolutely. So we can provide vaccinations. We've got provided by pharmacists who are trained to provide vaccinations, and within the pharmacy. So again, this accessibility thing we were talking about, and being so accessible, means it's a very good option for our customers to use.
So that's great. There's lots of accessible services for the Muslim community. Are there any other vaccines that are available?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, one of the important vaccinations that we provide every year is the flu vaccination, right. And that's available every winter. And actually now from last year going forward, all pharmacies are able to provide the flu vaccination to any member of the public that would normally get it for free in the NHS.
Right.
And again, the benefits are being that if the pharmacies are in the high street and there's no appointment needed, and you can walk into the pharmacy, and just like you'd go to the GP practice where the practice nurse or GP would give you the flu vaccine, you can walk into a pharmacy and again for free, you can have the flu vaccination, which is very, very important, particularly with people who have other long-term conditions such as asthma or diabetes.
No, that's brilliant. Well, thank you for joining us today, Simon. It's a pleasure to have you at the studio. Thank you. Pharmacists are the most accessible healthcare professionals. Your pharmacist should be the first point of contact if you're concerned about your health. We hope you enjoyed the show today. Now it's time for our fitness segment with our personal trainer. Assalamu alaikum.
So I want to talk today about how to get a stomach flatter, and obviously everybody wants this flat lower stomach, so let's talk about how to get there. The idea is when it comes to getting a lower stomach flat, you've got to go through the process of waking up the muscles deep down in the stomach area. The nature of the beast is right down here, the lower stomach, the muscles switch off, especially if we eat the wrong foods, then it sort of goes to sleep on us. So the first thing you've got to do to get a flat stomach is wake the muscles up. So if you find your belly button, which is here, you've got to focus on, can I draw in everything completely below the belly button. The natural tendency when you suck your stomach in is you suck this bit in here, but that's not what we want. We want to get low down and as low down as you can with the stomach. So initially, you're just going to have to stand there and think with your fingers, can I get that to work? And once that's working, you can then bring it through to the floor exercise. So this exercise looks very simple. And if you're doing it right, it works very well. So I'm now sucking in that lower stomach, which I've just showed you, everything below the belly button. Now, often what happens with my clients is, when you do that, they push with their legs. So I say suck the stomach in, and you see this. That's not a stomach exercise, that's a leg exercise. You want to be sucking everything below the lower stomach in. And this is slow, but once you get there, it makes a huge difference as far as stomach activation goes. And then when you come on to do a plank, which we're going to do now, you're actually working the right muscles. So the idea being, then when I come to a plank, these stomach muscles should be working the very low ones, and then you can just begin to hold. If it feels in your lower back, you've got to stop the exercise, it's not working. So for some people, this is too strong, just come off the knees. Well, for other people, this is more than comfortable, make it harder. You can just come further forward. The further that goes, the much greater stress you have on the stomach. But the key for getting a flat stomach is you're working the lower stomach. If you're working the big stomach muscles here, or your legs, you're not going to get the flat stomach that we're all looking for. So that's the recap. Make sure you get this awake, and then you can hold the plank for as long as you want in the comfort of your own home.